The Expanse has to be one of the greatest science fiction shows of recent years. I would rank it up there with Babylon 5, Star Trek The Next Generation, and the Battlestar Galactica remake. But it never found a massive audience, it was cancelled twice, and now there are reports that it will be removed from streaming. I've been watching it all over the past few months, and I'm glad I managed to finish while it was still up there. If you're not familiar with The Expanse, it ran for 6 seasons between 2015 and 2022. It's based on a series of novels by James S.A. Corey, which I haven't read yet, maybe someday. It's set a few hundred years in the future, when humanity is spread throughout the entire solar system. Earth and Mars are the dominant powers, but the natives of the belt are starting to rise up against them. Into this already extremely complex and volatile situation, people discover a mysterious alien protomolecule with all kinds of weird and wonderful properties that threatens to tip the balance of power to whoever can control it. The first season is split between 3 different viewpoints. Thomas Jane plays Detective Miller, a cop on Sirius Station investigating the mysterious disappearance of a young woman. Through him we get to see the darker side of this society as he runs into all manner of lowlives and almost gets killed a bunch of times. It feels like a gritty 40s noir transposed to a future setting. Miller is the classic world-weary gumshoe, obsessed with a woman he's never even met, and the mix of genres makes it one of the most intriguing storylines. It could easily have been turned into its own separate movie. At the other end of the social scale is Christian Avasarala, played by Shorey Aghdashloo. She's one of the highest ranked officials in the United Nations, and she provides the Earth perspective on galactic events. She's a very unusual protagonist for this kind of show, both as an older woman and as a politician, but she's utterly ruthless when it comes to pursuing her agenda, and in later seasons she swears like a trooper, so she's definitely one of the more memorable characters. But the main story thread follows a group of former miners who escape the mysterious destruction of their own ship, and after a bunch of adventures they end up commandeering their own vessel, the Rocinante, as they investigate the mysterious conspiracy. Their leader is James Holden, played by Stephen Strait. He's kind of the idealistic hero of the series, always trying to do the best thing for humanity, and trying to negotiate the right path forward between all the various self-interested factions. His second in command is Naomi Nagata, played by Dominique Tipper, a belter who keeps being torn between loyalty to Holden and that of her own people. Amos Burton, played by Wes Chatton, is the fighter of the group, fiercely loyal to his people, but lacking in a moral compass. And Alex Kamal, played by Cass Anvar, is the pilot who kind of holds the whole group together until the actor is written out due to sexual assault allegations. They feel more like a family than a crew, more like the gang in Firefly or Farscape than any of the crews from Star Trek. The ship scenes are much more realistic than most TVSF shows. There's no gravity in space, so everybody has to wear magnetic boots to avoid going flying off. They need chemicals pumped into them to survive high gravity manoeuvres, and it takes a long time to get from one planet to another. Every detail feels thought through, including the various different sets, so you can tell at a glance if you're on an Earth, Mars or Belter ship. And the Belters even have their own language, which sounds a bit like South African crossed with Caribbean Creole, which adds a whole other layer of realism to this future society. The first 15 episodes adapt Book 1, Leviathan Wakes, which ends with Holden joining forces with the crew of the Rocinante, which feels like a crossover between your two favourite shows. And they end up on Eros Station, which is transformed by the protomolecule into this beautiful but nightmarish environment before it becomes something else entirely. This storyline wraps up halfway through Season 2, which also introduces a new viewpoint character, Frankie Adams as Martian Marine Bobby Draper. Through her we get to see the Martian perspective on events, as a war between Earth and Mars threatens to break out. Adams is very believable as a kick-ass soldier, and you can definitely see her becoming a major action movie star after this. The second book, Caliban's War, is adapted into the second half of Season 2 and the first half of Season 3, so it's a lot more satisfying to watch the first 3 seasons back to back. Bobby becomes Christian's bodyguard, as they both end up in a very dangerous situation, and the crew of the Rocinante have to fight hybrid protomolecule monsters, which are pretty damn scary. The second half of Season 3 adapts Book 3, Abaddon's Gate. This has a much different feel to it, kind of like one of those Arthur C. Clarke books, where humans are investigating mysterious otherworldly objects, as the protomolecule forms a portal to a weird hyperspace dimension, and all the various powers send ships in there to try and probe its secrets. Holden is the only character who the protomolecule can communicate with, kind of, and he has to cope with everybody thinking he's going mad, as well as an assassin out for revenge following his actions in the previous seasons. This also brings some new characters to the forefront. Kara G steps up as Kamina Drummer, leader of one of the Belter factions, another hugely memorable character. She gives an incredible performance throughout the remaining seasons as this woman who's outwardly furious and hissing with anger, but inside she's lonely and vulnerable. We also get David Strathairn as her second-in-command, Clice Ashford, and their scenes together are a definite highlight. After this, the show was cancelled by the Sci-Fi Channel, but Amazon Prime picked it up for another 3 seasons, adapting one book per series, which made a lot more sense. You can see where the extra budget went immediately in Season 4, as it's mainly set on an alien planet with extensive location filming, and it feels really weird to see all these characters outside for a change. Bern Gorman from Torchwood is the villain of the season. He's very good at playing these kind of slimy, loathsome characters, and you spend the whole season waiting for him to get his comeuppance. The storyline does drag on a bit though, and in hindsight it's probably the weakest of the 6 seasons, but it does make for a welcome change of pace, and it takes the show to a whole other level. Season 5 takes things right back to the solar system, with all of the characters split between Earth, the Moon, Mars and the Belt. It's a shame to see the crew split up, but it does let all the individual characters develop on their own. Amos goes back to Earth, Alex goes back to Mars, and Naomi spent a whole stretch of episodes trapped alone on a booby-trapped ship, which really gives her a chance to shine. Marco Inaros, played by Kieran Alexander, is the main villain for the final 2 seasons. He's like a cross between Hitler and Bin Laden, launching a massive terrorist strike on Earth and killing millions of people. He's absolutely ruthless and fully committed to the Belter cause, so he's impossible to reason with, which makes him all the scarier. The final season is only 6 episodes long, but it makes for an effective climax, as all the various factions come together to defeat Inaros, culminating in a massive space battle, which is very satisfying. All the characters end up in a good place, and there aren't too many loose ends. The big exception is a subplot set on the planet of Laconia, which is really one big tease for the final books, and doesn't really go anywhere in the series, so they could easily have left that one out. There are 3 more books left in the series, but apparently they take place 30 years later, so it would be hard to adapt them without giving all the characters grey hair and wrinkles. Hopefully somewhere down the line they can be adapted into TV shows or movies, and if not, I can always read the books. There's also a comic series, Dragon Tooth, which is set after the end of the TV series, but before the final 3 novels, so I may have to pick that up someday as well. So that was The Expanse. It's been a lot of fun being immersed in it over the past few months. It's an incredible universe full of great characters, and I'm looking forward to revisiting them again someday in whatever format. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more of my views on science fiction, TV shows and movies and so on. And I'll see you next time.